Welcome to episode 48 of this Let's Play series. You're playing Dwarf Fortress. My name is DasTactic. Welcome to the channel. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I mean, we're a long way in, so if you're watching episode 48, then I guess you do like it, so I'm guessing you're already subscribed. Because I don't think there'll be any more of the, I think it'll be the diehards that'll be in here from this point forward. Anyway, we're going to be going through a few little things in this episode, or that's what I plan on doing. I've got like a few of the different goblins and things coming back in through here. Now, I did set these up to start to dump their various equipment that was actually in this, and I'm going to go through that in a bit more detail. What I've done though is I've set up like a little area in through here, like a bedroom, a food and drink stockpile, and also a dumping zone in here, which I have turned off at the moment because I need to sort of clear out other things. But this ultimately will be for dumping of the equipment. And what we're going to do ultimately is just lock this door and have like a dwarf in here working away, just pulling off the equipment basically from all of the creatures that we end up in this particular stockpile. That's sort of where we're going to be going. From there, I've got actually a lot down through this side. All of the night creatures have been placed into this stockpile, which is essentially just an empty stockpile. I might actually go and change this one and actually just have no animals whatsoever. Because there's no actual, like these are experiments and they're actually listed as experiments in the game, but there is no experiment in here. Like if we go and have a look at the experiment, nothing there, nothing there at all. So essentially we've got no way of really placing them into a stockpile. So I'm just going to come across to this one here, just go to animals and just go to none. That way we turn that one off. This way I have to go back into this one here, go to custom, and this time turn on the empty cages and the animal trap. So we'll accept all of the cages into this particular location. I'm thinking that I may have to do this one and then flick it back around again to get the empty cages back out to here. This is sort of where I do want to have the empty cages, but it wouldn't hurt if they're in here for now anyway. And eventually we'll figure out a way to deal with these different creatures, do something else with them. But it is the night creatures that are sort of like a bit of a problem as to what to do. And I'll go through once this is all set up. It may not be this episode, depending on what actually does happen. Another thing I wanted to have a quick look at was how we're going in here. Now, I didn't set up my my soap manufacturer since I actually had the crash. I did it before the crash, and then I basically, after the crash, I never rebuilt that. So we actually don't have any soap in here anymore. So we've got no soap, so we're going to have to set that one up as well. Buckets, I've only got one of two. I don't have any buckets, so I've actually ordered buckets to be built. We've got heaps of powder for casts. Crutches and splints aren't enough either, so we better go down and just do that. Now, the wood in the stockpile don't have that much, but I've got so many tasks for my dwarves to do. It's going to be hard sort of getting them to do anything. I might just unpause the game and just let things develop. Oh, by the way, one reason I did actually have it paused was that we do actually have a Goblin Diplomat coming, so there will be some interest there. I don't know exactly where they're from. It says from Ebcanthranth, and now I'm not sure where that actually is in the map. I have had a bit of a look, but I can't locate it anywhere. It could be simply because we're looking at the anglicised version of the names. I wish there was a constant way for the game to actually know that you want to play with either the dwarvish names or the sort of the game names or the anglicised names, and that would actually be so good, because there's so many instances where you do need that. There is a setting for names which does help a little bit with the justice system. I do want to get into that as well, potentially this episode. I'm still waiting. If I go to F5, sort of like we're down at elevation 11, like we're 10 layers down deeper than where we were before. We're still waiting for all of this to be finished off, so I'll let that all happen. There's just so much to work on. This has now all been set up. I think that I've assigned the latest of the heirlooms. So this is Osh Biribar has been created, and so that's now going to be placed in here. Now we're going to be wanting to get all of our artifacts ultimately into this particular room, and we then want to move the captain of the guard into this little area in through this side. So I'll wait for all that to happen, and then we can sort of actually over here, and then we can sort of discuss what has to happen in those sort of instances as well. But I'll just let them smooth all of the walls first. I probably should, just while we're here, just do those two as well. Okay. I've locked that door so that they have to. Any thief now has to go the long way around. So we'll sort of see them as they start to make their way into this room. Hopefully, or hopefully the dog will actually sort of alert us that there's a problem going on at that particular point in time. So we'll see how they go. But anyway, that's the only real way out. Now, other things that we had to have a look at is in the actual. If we go back up to F2 again, which is elevation 21. So we're now 10 layers back up again. So it's sort of like the pseudo entrance to our fortress. This is the underground entrance to our fortress, back in through here and across this area back into the hospital area. And so within the hospital area, we've got the well and so on and so forth. We don't have any traction benches, and to do those, we have to then make like traction tables. And to do that, we need to then have chains. Now, to make a chain, you can't just use a rope. You have to actually use chain. So I'm going to go down to F8, which is way down, about almost another 100 levels down below to the very, very bottom of the fortress where we've got our magma layers. I'm just going to go across to one of these Magma Forges. I haven't really been using them yet, but we're going to do a few things here. I'm going to go and add a work order. I'm going to go and add in a work order to build chains. Now, I've got a lot of different sorts of bars. Now, I know what they actually are, so I won't sort of go through them. But I'm thinking of making lead chains because I've got some lead. And so I try to find, like, that's probably the most useless of the minerals that we actually do have. So I'm going to make lead chains in this instance. So I'll make 10 lead chains. I think I've got enough of that. Let's have a look at our stocks and go to bars. We've got heaps of iron. So we've got like 619 iron. So we've got heaps of that. I'll just scroll on down. We'll just see how much lead we have. We don't have that much silver. We've got 64 copper. We've got 60 platinum, which is good, but I want to use that for special things. And we've got 68 lead bars. Okay, so we can make some things out of lead. So let's go and make chains out of lead. And why don't we make buckets out of lead as well? So we'll just go back across, work orders, add, and buckets. And this will be just lead buckets. There we are. So we'll just get those supplementing everything else that we've actually currently got. That way we can just make use of some of the lead, which, as I say, is probably the most useless. But we've got so much iron in this fortress. I've got to get the steel manufacturing up and running at some point in time. But we need the buckets to build the soap making facility. I'm building some out of wood as well, but the wood area, if we just go back up to the top again, to F2, taking us back up to elevation 21, when I go back down through here to have a look and see what's going on with the with that tree farm that we had created, which was... Where was that? That was further up, I think. So where was it? Yeah, down in here. We're still we're only seeing that one that's just starting to come up now. So it's going to take a long time before this becomes like usable. So in the meantime, even though I really just don't have enough, there's too much work for everyone to go and do. But I think I will just go and designate some chopping of the trees just so we can get more wood. Just get a little bit of this around the place. I'm just trying to keep it fairly much away from the fortress. There we are. That'll do. And of course, if I really do want to sort of focus on certain sorts of jobs, I can just go and get one of my workers, one of my woodcutters, and designate them. In fact, I've got a couple in through here that were designated for different things. I might just turn them off. They were designated for specific things. If we go to the miners, I do want my legendary miner to only do that. Professional miner, not so much. Stone crafters, yeah, I've got them. They were set up when I was trying to sort of I forgot to even turn this off. They've been sort of stuck this way the whole time. Let's just get all of those back to so we've only got a few that are actually specialised. So one wood chopper smoother. Actually, what I might do is just move this wood chopper here. So this is our militia commander. Toulon can just go out and chop some wood. And also the legendary miner just will be dedicated for mining at this point in time. Everyone else can just get into the work, which is a lot to do. Just go down to F2 again. So there's a lot being set up in through this side. I might just pause it now and we'll just wait for the liaison. Actually, where is that liaison? Maybe we'll just follow the liaison in. Just go to others. And then I'll talk about how we're then going to ultimately pull apart the equipment from all these different areas. We don't have to set up the cages the way that I did at the end of the second last episode 45, I think it was, or no, 46. So you don't have to do it the way that I just did it. So I'll go through a few other different ways, a few of the principles behind that. Now, down the bottom here, we should actually have the Diplomat. So let's go across to where the Diplomat is. It's coming down through the staircase. We'll just follow it down. So it'll try to find our leader. So we just want to see what it wants to do. I don't really want to be trading at all with the goblins. I want them as an enemy because we can deal with them, even though we don't actually have a military. So I'm going to trade Caravan that's arrived as well. Here we go. We wake up the leader. So it's waiting. Don't know what these guys are doing in here. Oh, they've come with this one by the looks of things. Looks like he's got some humans with him. Interesting. Okay, Odom has been... This will be Odom in through here. Sleeping soundly. Actually, we do actually now have the diplomacy. So this is a human hammerman. Groups. No groups that we're aware of. This is a human lasher. Again, no groups that we're aware of. And then this is Legia. And a member of which group? Citizen of the Joyous Confederation, a civilization. Okay, all right. Doesn't look very joyous. It could actually be a good person. Anyway, let's just see what actually happens in through here with our diplomacy. So the broker, Udib, meets with the human head treasurer, Resmi. So it was only the broker. Resmi, on behalf of the Merchants Guild, let me extend greetings to your people. There is much to discuss. This is a human head treasurer, Resmi. So even though it's a goblin, it's actually representing the humans. Okay. Hence the human henchmen around it. So Resmi is then saying there is much to share, information added to the civilization's world info. Make requests for next year's caravan. They'll charge more for these items. Now, I don't need much, but what I do need in this location is coal would be good. If we have a look at, I don't know if they'll have coal. If we don't want blocks, just stone. Like stone would be, that would be quite useful. Where is the stone? There it is. And any of the coal type, yeah, bituminous coal, would like that, thank you. Lignite, get both of those. Okay, so that was probably all that we really need. There was something else we needed as well, but I just can't think of what it actually was. Anyway, that'll do us, I think. That's something we do want to have. Maybe even charcoal, if we go to bars. Go to... not sure where it is. I'm not seeing it there. Oh, sand. We wanted sand. Any of the sand would be good. So we can make glass. Just give me all your sand. Yeah, charcoal as well. That'll do us. And that'll do, I think. Done. Okay. So let's discuss what we're willing to offer you for your craftsmanship. I need a need for plants and leather water skins. Now, the game doesn't record, like, I mean, it does up until the next time they come, but I always forget, so I just ignore this. It's just whatever. It's just whatever. So that's been done, and so we've now got the human caravan has arrived. So it's funny that they do actually have this goblin in through here. Okay, that's fine where we are there. Alright, they've got the human caravan. So I will just go out and trade with those. Oh, they haven't actually arrived in here yet. Haven't set up. Okay, so we'll just unpause. Let things develop. Okay, we're running out of cages. This is another thing where we could actually go and make, for example, lead cages, but they really are super, super slow. So you're better off making them out of wood if you can get the wood. Wood is a rare resource for us at this point in time. This door is now up. We don't, actually we do have the bed in here now, so I can actually lock somebody in. So what we might do is, who have we got in here? This is the captain of the guard, this is Thekut. Actually I want the captain of the guard somewhere else. So we'll just go across and get somebody else in here. Merchants have arrived and are unloading their goods. Just wait for one more person to come back in. And then we'll actually, I just don't want the captain of the guard doing that. Here we go. Who's this? This is Dwarven Child. So a little 3-year-old. This is Erdem, the Dwarven Child, coming in to store an item, and the item that it's storing will be one of the Warriors of Azoth in through this side. Now there's others coming in as well. What do you got? Hauling a Bayberry wood barrel. Okay, that's for the food. And this one is also storing an item in a stockpile. Items it's got is it's got severe splatters, hound hair crown, so it's somehow got the some of the other bits and pieces from outside. It's that's interesting actually. It's interesting that it got hold of that. I don't know where it got the hold of that one there. That's a farmer. Must have been from outside somewhere. Let's just wait and see who else comes in. I mean, I can just lock that door. Now, you're going up to... What we could do is actually lock this miner in. This miner here, if we have a look at this one, this is Law. And have a look at the actual, who Law actually is. So Law is down in here, just an adept miner. Sort of can do different sorts of things, so that's actually okay. What we can do is, there's no restriction on anything that she can do. So what we can do is actually start to get her to actually go and pull apart the different bits and pieces. We've still got a lot of them down in here. I might just wait until we actually get everything sorted. But she's now just putting some food into this stockpile. It should be. Yeah, there's a barrel there now. And so there's a barrel underneath that piece of rock. Yeah, we'll wait for all the other bits and pieces to come back through. Yeah, we'll just let them go. Alright, so we've got a peasant. Maybe we could use him to actually then go and do this bit of the work. So all we need to do is, I've got a dump zone in through here. I can lock him in here now. There's actually no food in here, so we can't do it for very long. But this is now forbidden, so he can no longer get out. So he's now locked in with all of the beasts that are actually in this particular room. And as long as we dump what's actually inside the cages, like if we go and have a look, I think I've actually gone back. Now, this is the hand, for example. The hand of Uskalathetsgast. So we sort of know what that is. Now, if I want to be very, very specific about what I actually want to take off this particular creature, first of all, I'll just go back and re-enable this one, just while I've got this area closed. This is what I needed to really have food and drink in here to do this one effectively. So I'll just do it in miniature, just so you get a bit of an idea. So I've locked him in with all of this. This will be his job for a few weeks. But in this case, we won't do it for very long. And so we did actually set up these cages in here, but we don't have to do that specifically. What we can do is, I can also then go and dump these bits and pieces. But essentially, when you set up an actual cage, it becomes a building. And so, okay, so it's actually not... The cage itself won't be dumped, so it's just a fast way to do the dumping. So if I go back into this designation and then designate it for dumping, and then what we can do is we can have a bit of a look at this. Now, it didn't change anything of this because it's set for dumping. If I do it down the bottom here and go to dump and then do, for example, this cage in through this side, it then does have the dumping designation because it's on the cage. Now, if I do it in a stockpile, what I can then come back and do is to go and just undump the cage. So I just go back through. So it's a little bit of micromanagement to do that. But what I've done is I've globally selected everything inside the cage for dumping as well. So it's sort of the same thing as doing this, except I don't have to undo the dump on those. If we go and have a look at the cage, for example, it's got the cage, but it's actually a building. And you can see there that the actual cage itself that's used for the building is actually set for dumping. So I can still actually undump that. If I undo if I unmake the dump, and you've got to be very careful with this. If you actually sort of undo the building with the creature inside it, when it goes to dump, it will then be released. So you've got to be super, super careful. So it probably is safer to just do it inside the actual area rather than to build them like this. You've got to, like, by undumping that one, when I do unbuild it, it will not be released. And so that's quite important. Now, we know that this is the hand of Uthgalagetstaz in through this particular area. If I go across into my others, the hand is here. If I go and have a look at the details, the items, we can then sort of see that he's still got an iron crossbow, a quiver, and so if you have a look at these particular items, we can then sort of see that this one still is designated for dumping, even though the cage isn't. And similarly, if we go back down, this one here, what's inside this guy, this one is Onal, so Onal, the soldier of the night. So if we go and have a look at his stuff, we can just go to others, click on the name, and just go down to O. So Onal, the soldier of the night axeman, and just go and have a bit of a look at it, and go to items, and then he's got, like, for example, battle axes and copper shields. If we go to the copper shield, for example, we can see that's also being now designated for dumping. So we can actually now go and strip apart those. So if we just go and basically let this guy, he won't have any job for a little while, and then he'll start to pull things apart because he's got nothing else to do. So come on, get working. There he goes. Now he's hauling stuff. So he's now hauling the sheep wool sock. And so by locking him in here, he's got nothing else to do. So we'll just keep on going back and forwards, grabbing more stuff from over here, more stuff from here. So he's just going to just literally just take everything off these particular creatures. And so it's just a nice way to constrain what we need to do as far as getting everything off these off the actual dangerous creatures that we actually have. So he's now sort of gone through. And if we have a look at see how things are going with the hand, for example. So if we go to others, the hand, look at his items, and so he's still got his iron crossbow, quiver, but most of the other things have now been been taken off him. So he's got very little left. Just have another quick look down the bottom here. So he just keeps on going back through. I think that might have been the shield that went. This bronze, the bronze arrow. That's interesting. There was a bronze arrow stuck in the leg of this creature, and he's taken that as well. So he's pulled it out. He keeps on trying to go out, but then realises, oh, I'm not allowed out yet. And we're just still doing stuff in through here. So he'll just keep on doing this. He's going to not like doing this for too long, but it's a nice way for us to just constrain the process. And so we end up with like a group that where we don't have to really worry about it. But you can see I can do it from, I don't have to set this up like this. And in fact, what I should do, oh, here we go, some migrants have arrived, that's good going. If we do go back into here and have a look at the cage again, I just want to make sure that I dump the actual cage, even though it's in the building. So that should be everything now gone from the hand. If we go back and have a look at the others, the hand, and have a quick look at the items, yeah, that's it now. So he's now being fully like all of his equipment has been taken off him into this particular dump area. And so I can very quickly get, like I can disarm them by doing it this way, which means that they don't have to take it anywhere other than just here, which means I can then, when I'm ready, just go and pull that stuff apart and bring that into somewhere else. So I'll just let him sort of continue on doing what he's doing there. But that's the, I guess, a safe-ish way of doing this. And I'll just do it little bit by little bit until they've sort of done all this one. I'll just check also the dwarf in the cage. This is the undead dwarf, like the rotten undead dwarf. So that's... he still keeps on going back in. Now we've got more diplomacy. So the Baroness, Limel of Vushted of Paint Daubs meets with the Goblin Keeper of the Seals. This is interesting. This is interesting here. So we've now got a new Baroness. So Limel has been appointed. Now I didn't actually see that, unless she just arrived. So that may be, she may have come from the mountain homes to actually be the new Baroness. She may have been inflicted upon us. Just click on OK. Such a pleasant place you've carved out for yourselves. So Legia is saying there's much to share. Information has been added. Okay, that's all fine. I might just... I've got it paused. So the human poets are visiting. Some migrants have arrived. Yep, Odom has become the mayor again. All right. We've got people fighting downstairs, which doesn't really matter that much. Although there is a planter there fighting. Not sure where that one was. The hammerer. Oh, he's been put in prison already. There's 2 of them in there. I don't know what they're doing in here. I don't think... Actually, we're going to have to do the justice system at some point. I won't do it this episode, but this is ultimately going to be my justice area. I'm not sure what they're both doing in here. Vabok the diagnostician and Kubuk the planter. But this is actually my prison. So they shouldn't be mucking around in a prison. But anyway, that's a bit of a problem. So Kib and Ushir. Yeah, actually, it's neither of them, is it? Anyway, I'll just let that one go. The yep, and we'll have a quick look at the additions. So who's the Baroness now? Just see if it is someone that's just arrived. Yeah, the Baroness Lemel. Okay, she has come into here. Lemel. Actually, the name rings a bell. I just can't think of what she was. Oh, this is the High Master Diagnostician and the Surgeon. Did we lose our Baroness? Oh, I'm thinking of the Twitch game that I had. No, of course, she's actually still going strong. So that's fine. Okay, that's not a problem. So this is the same meeting that they had before. I thought that was actually... I've completely mixed up my Twitch and YouTube stream. Sorry, guys. I thought our Baroness had died. So forget. If you're wondering what's going on, I don't know. I give up. Anyway, we'll leave that one there. I'll just have a quick look at F5. How are we going with all of this? This is looking better. We do need to just clean this area up as well. What we'll do is just go and place some doors back in through this side as well. And that way we sort of be ready for the justice system in the next episode. Place one there as well. Okay, and now who's this? Pump operator Della. Now, if we see units in through here, they may be getting rocks. Still write them in stockpile. That's actually okay. I'm guessing, yeah, they must be going for rocks. Let's have a look and see. They're coming back with stuff. I don't know what. It's not the granite ring. Don't know what they were trying to get hold of. Anyway, that's should be okay, I think. So anyway, we'll get this one set up eventually, and then we'll do that one in the next episode with the justice system. And I've got a tip there about how you may sort of, if you're naming your dwarves, it's very, very difficult to use the justice system. But I'll give you a clue as to how you might be able to do that one a bit more easily. I think we're sort of done. I might just go back to F2 now. We've sort of, at least we've gone through, yeah, we're just hauling more socks and things back in through here. So we are getting like a fair collection now of different things. You can see how effective this is to lock them in and let them sort of then work. But if there's a lot to clear like this, then we can just keep on sort of just going with it time after time. So we're getting iron left gauntlets. We're getting all sorts of different things in through here. And this is Goblinite, a lot of this stuff. Yeah, the iron crossbow is now gone. Still more stuff going in. So some of this stuff is going to be very, very valuable to us, and others not so much. He's now finished, so if we have a look at any of these, if we go back to this is Onal, so we'll just have a quick look at Onal again. Others, Onal, where was it? Let me know. Items, he's still got a shirt that is set for dumping, so he will go back and do that when he's had a bit of a break. There he goes. Let's have a quick look at the dwarf in the cage as well. So we'll just have a quick look at the others. Now it's easier to sort of find this one. It's got a different colour, so we'll just have a bit of a look. This is Bernadette, the dwarf axe woman, the undead. So she's of course she's got nothing left. So she's now just basically a walking skeleton. with no weaponry, so very, very weak. In fact, we now do see that she doesn't have anything that's actually displayed. Now, we've got all these other creatures that we need to sort of go and do, so I won't do it just yet. I'm going to now release the door, and then we can sort of just get more people coming back in with other ones. But this, it's important that we do make sure that these cages aren't set for dumping, because that will actually then release the creatures inside. If we did undo if we actually sort of took these off, which I do want to do at some point. In fact, I might just do that now. Just get the removals gone, and then what they'll do is they will then sort of move them back into position, so that these are designated as a building at this point in time. Come on, you can get out of there now. You don't have to stay in there. Now I'm just going to come through and disassemble this one, which then just becomes a cage. So she's still in the cage, but it's not designated for dumping. Now, if we had have left it on the way it was before, this would then be designated for dumping. Someone would then come and take it and move it into that dump area and release her. So we don't want to do that. So it probably is safer to do it like in through here, where you actually dump everything and then just manually go through and undump the actual item. Like if you use this designation, it's a marquee select type thing where it gets everything, but you can just go in by cage after that and just undo it, which is still probably safer in hindsight. Anyway, that's dumping again, so a bit more sort of dumping of different bits and pieces, dedicated stockpiles, chains, getting ready for these sorts of things. We might just go back down to F3 where we've got our workshops. Now, is this designated? You've got the furniture stockpile and the stone stockpile, so I can actually now go across into my work orders. I'm just going to designate that we want to have traction benches. So make traction benches, and I'll just make 6 of them. That's what we need. Actually, 6 or 10. It might be 10. Now, there may be a problem if we don't have the chain up in here just yet. Just see what happens. I'm trying to make the traction bench. It seems to be okay. You've got a mechanism, we've got a table. We just need to get the chain up into here now as well. So just wait. Come on, someone's got it, surely. It's pretty lugging it. Nope, that's logs. See if we can see. Oh, here we go. Now, this is interesting. The peasant cancels the forging of the lead chain. Now, they shouldn't have been able to come back through. The game may have changed. I wasn't sure about this. There's a magma crab there. Now, there shouldn't be. These are upstairs. This is a problem. Somehow it got onto the stairs. This is an upward staircase. So that should not have been able to break its way through. I'm going to have to pull this apart once this thing is dealt with. Let's have a quick look. This one is now stunned. And got to be very, very careful of these. She's going upstairs. This one's overcome by terror, but this one is seriously injured. Stunned with vision lost. Its body is broken. Its body is smashed open. These cause fires. They're very, very dangerous. And they usually come out of the area here, but we actually made sure that we had set up what we needed to set up in the safe zones. So the game may have changed with where the safe zones are. God, I hope not. However, I hope not. If it has, that's going to be quite dramatic. Yeah, the magma crab's slamming into it. Don't know where the peasant actually is. further. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, she's coming up. All right, well, look, we'll still just we'll let things go on. I'll have to try to figure out why that's actually, how it got into the fortress. This is upstairs, so there shouldn't be any problem there. But this is a bit of a danger. See if we can figure out where it goes. Is it going to be able to get back in? Yeah, it's still there. And again, this was a safe zone. Interesting, interesting. Well, I think it's now gone. We're no longer seeing it. Oh, there it is. So it did go back down through the smelter. Oh boy, okay. Well, that's tricky. That's tricky. So it actually went back down through this area, this hole, which should be safe. Okay, game has changed. The game has changed. Oh, that's a real shame. Okay, so I'm going to have to make sure I try to remember to write a note when I put that video up that that's no longer the case. God, there's been a lot of little changes like this, which I hope that they put them back in because it's fairly important to be able to sort of have these sort of safe areas. And yeah, that was an important one back in the old game. And now we've got magma crabs coming back out, and there's another one as well. Another magma crab right there. They may be coming out of here as well. I've just got a feeling that this is not what we expect. Oh, I'm going to probably have to have whoever's down here actually armed. In this case, it looks like everything is sort of a bit open at this point in time. Now, what I could do would be to actually sort of just to make. It's hard. It's almost like it came up through here as well. So our security is really, really bad at the bottom of the fortress here, which is where I thought it was going to be fairly strong. Whoa. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Now do we have to use over here maybe as our way down? Like we come to the end of this corridor and then go back down into this zone, and then where there's nothing, and then flatten this all off. That may be the best way through. Anyway, I'll worry about that in the next episode. So thanks for watching. I will catch you then.